guys, one of my friends on here who comes to the lives told me to stay in touch with what's her handle name is Arlene Unfiltered. You can find her on TikTok. And I went and looked at her stuff, and she's very bullish. I mean, she went to a liquor store earlier today, and she bought a champagne, and she was talking to the guy at the store, and he was like, why are you buying champagne? And she said, because I'm going to be toasting Madam President tonight. And he's like, Really? I mean, it's really close." And she's like, "No, it's not. It's not even close. The She's going to overperform with women, and women are going to come out to vote, and blah 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 blah." So, if you want to feel good about Harris's chance, I would say go over to Arlene Unfiltered. If you don't want to feel good about anybody, stay here, because what I'm into doing right now is just calling it as the majority of people seeing it. But I'm not convinced that anybody has this in the bag. I'm not convinced that there's not going to be something that we don't anticipate. I just don't think people know. I mean, just the thing I told you with Trump overperforming with independents in Georgia. I watched the guy on CNN. I can't remember his name. Say, I mean, I just don't know what to make of this. I mean, it's just like you can't. I mean, because last time in Georgia, Biden just took the independence in Georgia. That was like one of his victories. And this time, so I think I'm sorry, Biden had independence by about 11 percentage points, and I think Harris is behind about 11 percentage points with independents in Georgia. So, anyways, just watching like a pundit say, "I don't know how to explain this. Oh my God," tells me that you can't just assume that they know what they're talking about. Because for him to be surprised about anything, like right now, like I just couldn't see that happening. Maybe this isn't for you, buddy. Maybe this isn't for you. We all need jobs, but we don't all need jobs that we're not qualified to do. So, anyways, who do you guys have? If you guys were betting people, who do you have? So I just refreshed. Here we are, Senate, 29 seats for Democrats, 40 seats for Republicans with one flip seat. We already talked about that. House, there are 7 seats for Democrats up, and Republicans 24 seats. And for president, Trump's still in the lead with a bunch of too early stuff to call. We have 17 minutes until the Super Bowl is over, man. The Super Bowl is over. All the stuff we've been talking about for weeks, for months, all the anticipation. I was on here last night talking about it's election eve, and we're down to 17 minutes now. Nope, now we're down to 16 minutes. See, it's just counting down, and we're going the right direction with that, man. It's time. I actually did not wake up. I heard some people saying that they felt kind of sick yesterday and they were bound up. I kind of have resigned myself to whatever happens. I'm going to have the same attitude about it. I'm just going to, whatever happens tonight. So that freed me up. That stopped me from having to worry, because if I'm just going to be the same, no matter what happens, then now I don't have to stress. I don't have to stress about anything. What about you guys? Tell me in the comments who you think, not who you voted for. Put in the comments who you realistically think is going to win. And be honest. Even if it's not your person, be honest and put that in there. I would love to see what you guys are saying. Please, guys, don't spam with all the Trump stuff, with all the like weird Russian, things. This is actually an adult live. This is for adults. So don't do that. Don't spam. We're bigger than that, man. Let's not do that. Let's not have that type of behavior. I want to see what you guys have, though. Let's refresh here just real quick and see if there's any new headlines. All right. I do know that that one seat that has been flipped in West Virginia, MSNBC said of that seat, that seat was already gone. With Manchin leaving and Manchin being something like a pseudo Republican, why wouldn't they go for a real one? So they got one. GOP flips seat in West Virginia, and Harris takes Vermont. Is Vermont shocking? Oh my God, Vermont went for what? Yeah. So I have to say, I think Fox News has the best kind of user interface here to see what's going on. The other two, CNN and MSNBC, are like big headlines with a lot of kind of text and associated stories. Fox News is pretty elegant. It's a straight up map. and on the bottom, it's like the states kind of refreshing, like 5 at a time or 4 states at a time, telling you where they're at. Right now, New Hampshire, Harris is up. That's all we got in that line. Everything else, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Tennessee, and Arkansas are all 0% right now. They close at 8 p.m. and 8:30. Let's see, Minnesota, Nebraska, Colorado, and Wyoming, same thing, all 0%. Nobody doing nothing there, and they close at 9 p.m. Let's see, Arizona, New York, North Dakota, and South Dakota, 0%. So these are all 9 o'clock states. So that means we're going to be biting our nails for a while here. Wisconsin, Louisiana, Iowa, and Montana, same thing, but now we're getting into 10 o'clock states. So Iowa and Montana are 10 o'clock states, 0% right now. Nevada, New Mexico, Utah, and California, all 0%. And Utah is 11 o'clock. How late does a Utah keep their polls open, man? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, man. I'm excited about this though. This is kind of like my jam right now. Like what I like, to do. Like I don't want to call horse because there is so much that is at play tonight. It is not horse race. This is the battle for the soul of America. We have heard that before in our lifetime, but it matters as much now as it ever has because we're at a crossroads. These are two very different visions for America. These are two very different people. They have two very different sets of values and personality types. And one of them could set us off on the track for 4 years of more acrimony and toxic behavior and gutter kind of like mouths and just kind of a sullen America where only some people are really happy about it, and those happen to be the people that hate everybody else, versus somebody who is willing to say from the beginning, I will listen to people, I will bring people together, I will not be for one group over another group, I will be for all of Americans. Those are two vastly different promises for this next 4 years. And we're going to know probably within 24 or 48 hours, we are going to know which America we're going to get. Now, I'm sure that you guys know that it's a secret who I'm going to vote for. I'm not telling anybody. I'm just keeping it to myself who I'm going to vote for or who I voted for. I voted today. Who I voted for. So you guys can guess if you want to. You can try and guess. I don't think it'll be very easy for you to guess though. Anyways, I do want a happier America. I made a video that I couldn't put up today because it was just too much work to get it done. So I did kind of like walk with me as I go to vote. So my polling place is literally I drive out of my driveway and I go around a bend, which are the houses kind of like not too far from me around the bend, and then I make a left turn into a church parking lot, and that's where I vote. So I pull in that parking lot's not full. There's cars there, but it's not full. I go to the door, and the Virgin Mary is standing right there. There's a sign that says "Vote," and then there's the Virgin Mary, which I remember from my Catholic days. When you pass those, you have to like give respect. Do you guys know the Hail Mary prayer? Some of you that were Catholic, do you remember it? Do you still recite it? Do you use it at times? I feel like those are the things that when you have them in your formative years, you never forget them. Like, even if you're not Catholic anymore, they come back up and they're very comforting. Anyways, seeing the Virgin Mary in front of the polling place actually was really good to me. I it makes me feel good. And then I went in, and there was probably about 5 or 6 people ahead of me. It was a very orderly process. You give them your ID, they kinda scan you, they turn the screen around, you get to look at it, make sure it's you, your name and everything. Then you sign a thing saying, "This is me, and I've verified my information." They give you a receipt, you walk over, you get your ballot, you fill your ballot in, and then you put it in the scanning machine yourself, and it gives you a message letting you know that you have been tallied. The lady gives you the sticker, and you walk out. And that takes about 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 minutes total. That's what it takes for me to vote. So when I'm watching other people in other parts of the country voting, and I'm watching the fact that they're taking a long time. They're in very long lines, and I am saying, "What is wrong with your leader?" The idea that it should take anybody in 2024 like a long time to exercise one of their most basic civic rights and responsibilities in a country where we brag about Elon and we brag about sending, jack-offs to the moon and all that stuff. You think you can't make it easier to vote? Well, see, this is what we know for sure. We know that there's one party that wants fewer of you to vote because the fewer people vote, the more of a chance they have to win. So if you have one political party whose entire existence is on uh, predicated on people not voting, then what do you think they're going to do when they come into power? Especially in red states, they're going to disenfranchise people. They're going to cut up the districts so they look like Swiss cheese and just weird shapes for districts, and they're going to do that so that they can unnaturally configure what votes go where and who's going to win in their state. This is why I think we need federal protections for the vote. We need federal protections for the vote because uh, states can't be trusted. I mean, what was the state where the judge literally ruled, in looking at their voting scheme, ruled that the state leaders had surgically crafted their voting scheme to remove Black people from power, from the voting rolls, from having any collective power? If it wasn't for the courts, we wouldn't know that. If it wasn't for the fact that the courts actually were tracking that, that would still be a mystery to us. I don't understand. Are the Black people not voting or whatever? Why can't they ever get a stronghold? So I just say that to say I live in a state that's highly functional, blue state with 10 walls. Uh, this state, whether you are Republican or Democrat, takes the civic process very seriously. And it's very, Lutheran type of aesthetic when it comes to they they may not believe in the same politics, but they definitely believe in the same process, meaning everybody gets to vote fairly, and it doesn't need to be hard to do. It can be easy to do. Listen, if I had to work today, and I didn't, I took the day off. But back in my days when I had shift work, there were just going to be times where I'm not going to be able to come down there. Now I know you can do all kinds of other voting, but I mean, listen, it sounds more convenient than it actually is sometimes when states put friction between you and the voting process. Just little things that get in your way. People, leaders, and politicians who move all those things out of your way, that's what you want in leaders. So here we are, guys. It's the night. It's the night of nights. I'm excited to see what's going on here. I'm kind of a little bit, if I had to lean any direction right now, just to be very honest with you, um, I feel the way that I felt like when Trump was running against Hillary, in that I feel like people were underestimating him then, and they might be underestimating him now. I think if there is a win tonight for Kamala Harris, it's going to be because there was an enthusiasm gap in some very important places. Because Donald Trump didn't have a great ground game. As a matter of fact, he had a terrible ground game. I think the Harris campaign that they knocked like millions of doors. I can't remember how many millions. And it's going to be this is a gender gap election. It's really we're gonna have to watch and see what women do, because women are more likely to vote, and in this around their votes a little bit shifting. The share of educated women is larger than it's ever been, and more educated people tend to vote for the Democrats. On the flip side, Donald Trump's core audience are lesser educated white males and females, first males and then females. That group is not they don't show up the most, and in places uh, where it's kind of hard to vote and there's friction in voting, they might even show up less. But they might be energized this year. You never know. Now, Kamala is also overperforming early. Early talk is that she's overperforming with younger voters and who are going to come out more in this election. So we will see that. You guys let me know if you think any of these things are just guessing, just conjecture, just like we're just guessing here. We don't know what the hell we're talking about. I don't think that that's true. I feel like I know what I'm talking about a little bit, but not so much. Um, I'm gonna try and see if I can look up and see what you guys are saying here in comments. I don't know why I can't see it. Um, for some reason I can't see your guys' comments. Oh, there we go. I see it. Trump got Elon Musk. Kamala got Cardi B. You said that last night, Noel, but I think you're forgetting about Mark Cuban, who's also a billionaire. And I mean, you guys can have it both ways. You guys have been saying, well, all the billionaires are going for Kamala. Big tech is going for Kamala. So nice try, Cardi B. I mean, I could say like, well, Kamala's got Mark Cuban, but Trump has got Bad Bunny. But then I'd have to take it back because Bad Bunny reversed his endorsement. Or, he's got Riley Gaines, except for, I mean, outside of, like, mommy blogger world, very few people know who that person is. Alright, let's see, is there any update here at all? Let's see what we got here going. There's no real update at MSNBC. I will say this to you guys again, I really like Fox News's, user interface better than all 3 of them. Well, there's more than 3, but better than the other ones. It just looks better. So Kentucky, right now, Trump is in the lead, 64% to 34%. Indiana, I think they've already kinda called Indiana. South Carolina, Trump is in the lead, 60 to 40%. Vermont, I think they call that for Harris. Virginia, Harris is in the lead. Alabama, zero zeros on some of these. West Virginia, they called that for Trump. I think, pretty sure, yep. And North Carolina, they haven't called that, but Trump is leading there. We got zeros in a lot of other places: Delaware, District of Columbia, Illinois, Kansas. I was still at Trump has 23 electors and electoral votes, and Kamala Harris has 3. So we shall see. I think, yeah, she has 1 on the map. Trump has got 3 on the map right now. 3 reds and 1 blue. And I definitely like Fox News's interface better than the other 2. The other 2 are really opinionated. So MSNBC, big headline, and then a lot of sub stories. So I think they're not showing you what's happening in real time as much. They're kind of giving you a lot of commentary. So races to watch. They say Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, South Carolina, and Pennsylvania are the places to watch. Wisconsin in there too. Yeah. So Arizona, there's nothing. Michigan, there's nothing. Maryland, there's nothing right now. Montana, there's nothing. The only one that has something on the board right now that's one to watch is Georgia. And right now, with 25% of the vote in right now, Trump is ahead 61% to 38% for Harris. Realize though that those things can swing wildly. There's 75% more of the vote to count. Oftentimes, red counties get their votes in faster, and a lot of the more Democrat votes are in the urban areas, like Atlanta is huge. So until you see like the returns from where the strongholds are for Dems, the numbers aren't really close. They don't mean a lot. North Carolina, Harris is in the lead in North Carolina with 3% in. These things are just even criminal to say until it like really means something, because with 3% in, nobody knows nothing. Steno in Cali, what do you say? North Carolina looks at the rural areas. So what do you mean by that? Do you mean the rural area votes come in first? Because if that's true, and also Rose 576, Lita Rose, is it? You said the same thing. Those are all of the rural counties. Good to know. Ash, please do not put a whole bunch of the same thing in over and over again. Uh, and Kelly says they are blue, and Alita Rose says 576. Well, good. This makes me feel better. Stay here, people. Help me not have to like bite my fingernails off tonight. Let's see what some of the headlines are. What are they reporting today? I'm Trump's core constituency, and there's no way I'm voting for him. That's one of the stories. Trump's chances of winning remain baffling. Do you guys think it's baffling? See, I remember calling my boss in 2016. So I remember calling my boss and saying to him, listen, you know a lot about politics. I'm feeling like this is going to be not the race that everybody else is thinking it is, because everybody around me was in the bag. Hillary was in the bag. And I just kept saying the same thing. I really feel like you guys are underestimating racism. And so my boss says to me, and my boss is like a insider in a way. I mean, he knows inside Obama people, and he says to me, "Listen, the math just doesn't work for him. He would have to." And then he laid out for me the things that Trump would have to do to win, and which I didn't understand, like all the math and the different states and all that stuff. And then he got to the end. He's like, "That's just there's no way that's the path for him." And it was exactly what happened. The thing that my insider boss, who knows a lot about these things, said, and all along, I said to him the night before, I was like, I don't know. Like, I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I have a feeling that you guys are really underestimating racism, and I think they were. I think they underestimated racism. I think racism won, and it shocked everybody. Everyone was, "Oh my god, I can't believe this is shocking. I thought my people would have gotten the polls and done something different." Well, I'm not saying that's the same right now because I think what I heard some key people say is that towards the last week or so with Hillary Clinton, there were people on the ground who were hearing what the media was saying versus what they were seeing on the ground, and they saw a gap between the enthusiasm of the media people and the enthusiasm of the people they were door knocking with. And the thing that some are saying is different this time around is they're feeling a different energy on the ground. Like they're knocking a lot of doors, they're talking to a lot of people, they're seeing some conversions, they're hearing from some people confessions that they're going to vote for, they're going to cross over, and thus that commercial about like you don't have to vote the same way as your husband. I don't think they made that by accident. I think that's a real sentiment out there. Let's see any other big headlines. So where is Lehigh University? Because there's a headline here that says Lehigh University president says student turnout is staggering. Staggering. And I guess I'm assuming that high turnout of college students means good things for Kamala's side. Sure, there's like some of that college Republican stuff, but I don't think it matches up. Who is Lehigh University? Where is that? Linda D says she's losing. All right, Linda D. Well, let's do a quick refresh and see if she's losing because I mean, you might be a little bit, you might be saying something that's a little bit true. All right, so there's 270 electoral votes needed, and right now Kamala has 72 and Donald Trump has 105. So it is absolutely true that Donald Trump is in the lead right now. And you look at South Carolina, it looks like they called that for. So listen, this is all who they've called for Donald Trump now: Oklahoma, Missouri, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, and Florida. And if I'm thinking about that right, that's probably about hmm, like 80 something. No, no, what am I saying? Yeah, 105. It is what they counted. And so far, what they're calling for Kamala is Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont. What is this one here? Oh, it looks like they're calling swaths of Maine, but not all of Maine. So I don't know what that means. So for Kamala, they're calling Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Maryland, and DC. Is Rhode Island a Democratic state? I always thought that from people that I hear talking and know from there, I always thought it was not. So that's what's declared right now. So who said that in the comments there? I forgot who else said that they are that she's losing. So not all Bob says tag me in all the liberal crying videos after Trump's wins. I want to see them all. You're bragging about that? I mean, you're bragging about liking to see people cry. You're bragging about liking to see people hurting. See, this is why we need a different president. This is why we need good Americans to vote for a good person so that we can get back to having good people do good things for good people and not have sociopaths who say things like, I can't wait to see you hurt. I just can't wait. Oh my God, it's gonna feel so good to see you hurting. You're weird. You're a sociopath, and you're voting for a sociopath. This is the like I don't have anything else against Donald Trump except for the fact that he's a completely foul person. He makes people be more foul. He brings out the worst in people, just like you. And everybody in the comments here that are for Trump are going to prove it to me tonight, because all of them are going to be saying nasty, mean, ugly things because that's all they got. That's who he attracts. That's literally his demographic. So, anyways, listen, I hope that that what you said doesn't come true, that you're like sitting there with a bunch of political videos and people crying or whatnot. But in the event that you may lose tonight, I will not be, dancing around, because you're hurting. I will be dancing around maybe because I'm happy for a happy person to take the lead in the country and make it okay and, permissible again for us all to be good people and nice and happy and have joy while we're also doing the hard things of installing policies that help people, like the middle class, the working class, the underclass, like mothers, like business owners, small business owners, like people that need to buy houses so that they can get out of rentals, and people who are in rentals so that they don't get price gouged by rental cartels. Yeah, 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 that's what I'm for. That's what I'm for. I'm voting for healthcare. I'm voting for education. I'm voting for worker protections. I'm voting for people. I'm not voting to like see you cry, dude. I don't know what your problem is. That's weird. Anyways, what are you guys saying here? You guys are saying a lot. Um, yeah, the Democrats were sad that the shooters missed, says wise man 0005. Mm, okay. Someone here says, free Palestine. Did you guys see the stuff that came out about Jill Stein today? I feel like I missed a big part of that story, but yeah, where'd that come from? Just out of nowhere. Like at the last minute, it turns out that her running mate is a anti-trans and anti-abortion guy, and she herself is a Zionist. Um, didn't see that one coming. That wasn't on my bingo card, except for that she got Trump's endorsement and everything. I guess I would feel a little bit silly if I did that whole liberals, uh, leftists. I'm going to vote for a real person who's not for the G side, and you vote for a Zionist and a running mate who hates trans people and wants to have a national abortion ban or AB ban. Sorry. Love TikTok. Love the TikTok shop. AB ban. Anyways, is anything new happening? Guys, if you want to look, I keep saying this, if you want to look for yourself, I don't want you to rely on me to be the only one. I'm going to tell you as truthfully as I can. But if there's anything that you guys see that's more accurate, let's be about the truth. Right now, I told you before, I think Fox News has a really great interface for this. We're still at 72 and 105. In the Senate, it's Debs 34 seats to 43. And then in the House, it's 19 to 36. So it's pretty early in the game for the House. The Senate, I think we're getting we're within 8 points away for control of the Senate for the Republicans. So there you go. That's where we're at right now. Any other big headlines? Let's see. Harris and Trump notch reliable wins. Now, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does reliable wins mean? Does that mean that they're getting things that we should be expecting them to get? Like none of this is surprising at all. Um, I guess the only thing that I can see here that would be a flip is that one flip seat in West Virginia, but it doesn't sound like that's a surprise to people. Doesn't sound like that's at all surprising. Trump wins the key race of Florida as Harris picks up Massachusetts and Maryland. Can you say Massachusetts? Massachusetts. Massachusetts. I think that state needs kind of like a shorter name, like the M state or something like that. So Harris picked up the M state in Maryland, and CNN is projecting that Trump has Florida. Now, there was some talk and there was conjecture about, I don't know, Florida could go the other way. And I did see several folks that were like, man, come on, calm down. Calm down there, dude. There's not going to be any turnover of that particular seat. I guess that's true. Right now, there is no turnover of that seat. Looks like Trump is going to win that, which is good. Which is good. So let's see what else we got here going on. Harris wins Massachusetts. Is there anything new? Trump takes Florida. That's not new. Harris has got DC. Now, is that shocking? Harris won DC? No, it's not really all that shocking. Um, yeah. How is this starting? Okay, first of all, there's not a lot in yet. Does this mean anything to you guys? Like at this early in the game, does this mean anything to you? Are you catching any fumes where you're going, oh, like, damn, this is not like I thought it would be? Or are you just basically kind of saying, no, no, we're good. Remember with Hillary, I don't know if you remember the SNL skit during that night, people were starting off like, yeah, okay. Ooh, yeah, this is good. This feels good. And then some few things, dropped. A few shoes drop, they're like, "Oh, okay, okay," but she still has, blah, 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 and then, and then they're, like, drinking wine, and they're all done. USA, are you, like, looking to be co-host? Why do people ask for co-hosting privileges? I actually really don't know what that means, USA, so, um, let's see what else we got going on here. Um, should I be drinking like, I just have water. Should I, like, have wine or, I don't know, something stronger? My drink of choice is a Long Island iced tea, and it's because I don't drink much. I've never been a drinker. As a matter of fact, when I grew up, there were a lot of people around me that drank too much, and I remember being a kid saying, "I will never be you. I will never do that." And, I think I had 1 drink, on my 21st birthday because someone made me. I had pneumonia. I had a friend that came and picked me up and made me go get a drink because he said I would regret it if I didn't on my 21st birthday. He drove me there. This is Minnesota. My birthday is in January. It was in the middle of winter. He had no heat in his car, and there was a hole in the floorboard. So we were freezing all the way there. We parked and had to walk through the cold. We went into this reggae club called the Caboose. I got 1 drink, which was a kamikaze, and it laid me out. I don't even remember how I got home. I know I got sick, and then we were back home again. After that, I didn't really drink very much. Um, when I got married years and years ago, my brother came up to me during my wedding reception and handed me a drink. Said, "Drink this. You're going to drink this." And I'm like, "All right, whatever." And then I tasted it was Long Island iced tea, and it was like literally like instant. It was like, "Oh, this should have been what I was drinking all along," because it doesn't taste bad. I don't know how that works when you put all that alcohol in there, and it just doesn't taste bad. Um, but I got a little bit touched really quickly. And I just remember that, as the drink, you don't need to have many of them. You just need to have 1 and 1 and done, and you don't even finish that 1 and you're good. Anyways, I don't know why I told you all that. Just basically to say that's why I'm probably not drinking tonight. I have drank wine, before, but, just not a lot of it, and I should maybe be doing it. So EO11 says, "You don't know, dung about leadership. You can't even answer a question, you're like her." Who are you saying that to, EO? Is there someone else in the comments that you guys are fighting right now? Kamala not doing so hot right now, clips McDonald's fries in ketchup. Wow, you guys are like just you guys are ready to be. So Skylar says most definitely drink. Um, can't wait to say Trump, you are fired again, says Shelly. Holly says, let's go with some blue wave stuff there. EO, what are you saying here? I'm saying that you give me an example of her leadership. Um, well, I don't think so because she's the vice president of the United States, and I'm a guy talking on TikTok. I know over time we have conflated expertise and achievement with anybody could do it, or I do my own research or whatever. And I think that's kind of like the Trump effect, making ignorant people feel as though they're actually smarter than they are. And he does it by talking to them in Sesame Street language that they can understand. But I don't match up with Kamala Harris. There's no way in the world I know what she knows. I've achieved what she's achieved. I don't have like multiple degrees. Well, I take that back. I have 2 degrees, but her degrees are better than mine. She's poli sci in economics, I think, and then she's got a Juris Doctorate, and she's also a member of the bar. She's a practicing attorney, or was a practicing attorney, which means only 50% in the state of California passed the bar. 50%. That's a pretty big kind of cut rate there. I don't know any other profession that has one that high. Um, uh, anyways, I say all that to say I appreciate I appreciate it that you likening me to her, but it's just not true. She's vice president of the world right now. Wheezy or Meezy says, "What policies?" See, you guys keep asking this, and see, I know that that what liberals like to do, and I'm not a liberal. What they like to do is they like to take it as if you're acting in good faith, and if they tell you something, you will then say, "Oh, okay, now I know what her policies are." But see, the thing is, when you ask that question, you know that you're asking a dishonest question. You know that she has policies. You know that you know what they are, and if you don't know what they are, you know where to find them. So that what policies are hers is kind of like this shared kind of weird ignorance, the shared ignorance, this will, "La, la, 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 I don't know what her policies are." See, I'm not a liberal. I'm not gonna play footsie with you. If you're gonna be a moron, we're gonna let you be a moron, and I'm just gonna let you kind of like roll around. You've crapped the bed, and I'm gonna let you like roll around in it. And then when you are serious, then say something. Say something serious because I'm interested in what you think and your dialogue and all that. So anyways, she couldn't answer a live question about inflation. She said, "Ugh, ugh, prices went." I mean, listen, I think sometimes you just see what you want to see. I mean, because you're obviously voting for a guy that completely babbled on multiple policies that were really important, like childcare. Or what's his healthcare plan? You have a concept of a plan, but you guys don't say anything about that. You're cool. Well, I mean, God, it's only been 8 years. Give him time. He's had 8 years to replace Obamacare with something better, something bigger, better, bigger, best in history. But you say nothing about that. You wanna give the really super educated, high achieving black woman, a problem, while you let Bozo over there, like, roll around in his dirt. I mean, why don't you guys go after Jabba the Hutt like you should? The dude actually says really weird things, lots of them, constantly. He's really like drunken uncle. Like, he should be sitting in a lazy boy somewhere in the corner, just saying stuff, like he's got racial Tourette's, like, "The Mexicans, the Indians don't look Indian to me." "Well, I don't know. When did she become black?" Anyways, listen, 15, the weirdo party. Okay. I hope you're saying that about Shelley. I hope you're saying that about the GOP because they really are. I mean, honestly, when they got mad because Tim Walz called them weird, they got mad because it stuck. Because the moment it was said, people were like, "Yes, yes, that's what we've been looking for." They have been so good at labeling all of our people. It's like they're criminally insane in the way that they can label a person, like, Sleepy Joe and, Boring Jeb, and think about all the names they had for Nancy Pelosi and whatever. And nobody, liberals don't think on that level, and Democrats don't think on that level. So when you're kind of thinking at a Democrat level, it doesn't come to you like that schoolyard bully stuff doesn't come easy. But Tim put on the ground and a foot in the air. So when he says, "Man, these guys are just weird," it just fit. That's the reason why it became a problem for the Republicans is because in one word he reframed them in a way that actually made sense to people. They do really weird things. I mean, you don't think that Matt Gaetz is weird. You don't think uh, Boebert or Taylor Greene. You don't think those are weird people in a party? Uh, If not, tell me what is the Boebert equivalent in the Democratic Party? Tell me what is the Taylor Greene equivalent in the Democratic Party? Tell me what is the Matt Gaetz equivalent? What's the Jordan guy, like, who has the scandal at his college? Tell me what the Democrat equivalent is of those things. I don't know what it is. All right, man. Let's someone who says Jess says Trump's winning LOL. All right, well, let's refresh and let's see what we got going on here. Um, Fox News projects Pennsylvania becomes latest background state. Too early to call in addition to North Carolina and Florida. So Fox is calling those too close to call. I don't think that I've seen any more movement really than we had before. It's still 72 to 105, with most of the country not reporting. What does MSNBC say? Let's see what they're giving as their headline right now. Trump takes Florida. Harris wins Maryland and DC. That's nothing new there. And let's see what CNN is talking about here. CNN, we like to check in on them sometimes just to see if they still have a heartbeat. Harris and Trump notch reliable wins is still their headline. Nothing really changed there. They have they have Harris at 27 and Trump at 90. So there's obviously some disparity between CNN and the Fox people. Fox or I'm sorry, CNN still has Democrats for the Senate 32 for the Democrats and 42 for Republicans, and the House is still 22 to 44 with Republicans leading there. And there are 9 minutes and 50 something seconds until we're done. Like until we're just at that point, America is shut down. We're shut down for business, and we're just gonna. It's all about the count after that, the counting. So 9 minutes, guys. 9 minutes. Hopefully, there's a lot of people online right now. Um, mm, but I knew I was going to get lit up in the comments from people like, like I can't wait to see you guys lose and all that type of stuff. And I expect that. I know how you guys are. What has Kamala done as vice president? So listen, again, I'm not the liberal leftist who's going to try it in a good faith effort to try and educate you when you ask a question like that, because you and I both know that's not an honest question. Because if you wanted to know the answer to that question, it would have been very easy for you to go look it up at any time in your life. When you live in an information society, ignorance is a choice. So if you don't know right now, if you literally don't know the answer to this question that you're asking, that's a you problem. It's not a me problem because you're not asking it in good faith, are you? You're asking it actually in bad. Please don't entertain the MAGA. We have Madam President to celebrate, says Lita Rose. Lita, you are my people right now. I want you to be right. I just want you to be right. You are my people right now, and I just want you to be right. So Florbo says appropriate party. Holly said Google it. Thank you, Holly. Google is free still. It might cost something in the future. You guys think I'm joking. Actually, parts of Google might cost money in not too long of a time. He was just asking why you want her as president and why she deserves your vote, says Willow. Okay, well, that's a nicer question. I think I've been talking a lot about the difference between the two Americas, the vision that these two people have. And I think, you have third party people who says there's no difference between these two. They're exactly the same. That's why I vote for third party. And I don't think that there's an intelligent person anywhere who actually believes that these two people are exactly the same. So if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you hear, excuse me, and you hear that from a third party person, I think you have to think to yourself, are they okay? Like, they can't see the difference between these 2 people? But no, they literally can't. They think these 2 are exactly the same. So, to more directly answer your question, I think these are 2 very different people with 2 different plans for America. I think one of their plans for America is definitely for the middle, the lower, the underclass, the working class, and the other is definitely for the top 21%, top 20% to the 1%. So that's where I start. I start with that. And then I have real issues that I care about that I know are not going to be well served by a Republican agenda. The first one is worker rights. I think when you ask yourself who's going to protect the rights of workers, to make sure that their unions are strong, that they have a say in how their work goes, to make sure that they're getting paid living wages and with great benefits, that they're able to extract some of the value that their work provides to these shareholders that are walking away with tons of money, like during a global health emergency, the billionaires are like doubling their money while the workers are not getting anything out of it. There's only one party that supports that. It's just one party. That's why the majority of the unions go for Democrat every time because it's a sure bet in that there's only one group. When your pension is on the line as a unionized worker, there's only one party that's there for you. Only one. I mean, as much talking as we can do about like, the Democrats are elitist and the Republicans are down with the real people. I mean, that's such the biggest con I've ever seen in my life. Because literally, if there's any social safety net that any of your family are on right now, 100% it's a Democratic policy. Prove me wrong here, but anytime there's a benefit to anyone, including veteran benefits, that's something that will be cut by Republicans at some point. Matter of fact, let me just tell you, Project 2025 calls for a cut to veteran benefits, veteran health benefits. So they're going to reclassify some of the veterans so that they no longer qualify for some of the care that they're getting. It's right there. They wrote it. They said the quiet part like really loud. They think it's a good idea. But you have people out here thinking that the veteran thing to do is to vote for the red party, right? So that's why, if you ask me really why, who's going to do what for workers? Who's going to do what for education? Who's going to do what for housing and home ownership, right? Who's going to do what for small businesses? Who is going to do what for the little guy? Period. Who's for the little guy? I mean, you can say, well, cutting taxes and giving it to the rich helps it trickle down, and then the people on the bottom get some of that trickle down. Trickle down works if you're the one doing the peeing. If you're on the top peeing on everybody, you're the one who's getting the benefit of the trickle down because you're doing the trickling. If you're at the very bottom and you're getting a little bit coming out of all that, you want somebody like this who comes in and flips it on its head and say, "No, we're gonna do bottom up policies. Our policies are gonna be like Jesus said, for everything for the least of these, you do for me." He didn't say like, a rich man will get into heaven over the poor people. He said it would be harder for a rich person to get into heaven than to get a camel through the eye of a needle. That's a good answer. You tell me what policies you like Trump, because you like the fact that he's going to extend the tax cuts. Well, why do you make the tax cuts temporary for the middle class? I keep asking this question. He made the 1% tax credits permanent and put us on the hook to pay for it because he didn't pay for it. But the middle class tax cuts, which were small anyways, he made those temporary. Why do you think that is? Why did he make your tax break temporary? And why did he make the rich tax break permanent? I have no idea. I think it's a very interesting question. Who's trying to get in here? I saw some people trying to get in. I don't see you now, but if you do want to come to the front and talk, I'm all about it, man. Government helping poor people provide no long-term improvement, says Gibbs. Well, Gibbs, um, I think if we were specific, because I've been a lifelong libertarian. I used to say this exact same talking point, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar with this talking point. As a matter of fact, it came out of my mouth a lot of times. But in truth, if we're being kind of research-based people and evidence-based people and science-based people, there are things like Head Start that do have a really great return on investment. You put money into Head Start, and that's for poor people. And it's to make sure that kids go to kindergarten ready for school, and it has a lasting impact. Money that you put into educational improvements for people have a lifelong lasting impact. The more people that you get across the line to go to college and to get a college education, most of their stats are better. They marry more, they live longer, they have better health, they have fewer financial stressors in their life. I can just go down the list. The lesser education you have is when you start having more problems than the rest of the population has. So I don't think that the government investing in people is bad long term. And I've said this every night. So people, if you guys have heard some of this from me already, if you've been with me the last few nights in my lives, but the most prosperous time in the United States was the 1950s when there was a big boom. And the reason that was that way was because corporate greed hadn't taken over the way that it does now. So back then, the government made big investments in people. The GI Bill got people a college education and a house. That's the basic kit for American wealth building, a house and a college education, because to a job and a family and everything that you need. And guess what? A couple of generations later, the people who had that benefit back then, their families did well. Actually, they're doing well now. So I don't know what to tell you. I've heard this. Government doesn't help people. Stephen, you're either Russian or an idiot. So stop spamming the chat with your nonsense. I mean, see, this is the type of thing 100% that this is not a democratic thing to do. Look at what Stephen has put in there. That is them. That is the antisocial. I don't know how to act in a social environment. I don't have the same, self-restraint and manners that adults have. That's why I'm voting for a bozo. And he respects me for being a bozo. So my only job here is to be like that kid in class that stops everybody else from learning, who sits in the corner and eats paste and babbles all the time. That's you. That's you. That's literally you in the comment section talking about Jabba the Hutt. Anyways, what else are you guys saying here? Yes, people can do that by finishing their education before having children and keeping two parents. Well, I mean, some people can. I mean, like, I don't know. You said take care of widows. You think widows had a choice in their husband not being here? What about people whose husbands are not with us anymore because they serve the country? Yeah, I'm sure two parents does wonders for some people. Did you guys know? Look this up right now because you're going to think I'm lying to you when I tell you this. The single mother rate in Iceland is something like 70% or something. I want to say 67%. It's really high. Look it up right now. Google it. Just Google single mother rate Iceland, and it should pull up some stuff. And it's not the it's not the stressor that we say it is in the United States. I mean, because they made a public policy choice. I guess I'm not an expert, but I guess Iceland have something that they kind of call like independent mothering or something. It's like a thing there. It's part of the culture that it's acceptable, and the government makes it so that mom and children don't suffer at all. So all that's a policy choice. Like all that suffering is just a policy choice. Anyways, look it up. Tell me if I'm wrong, because if I am, I don't mind being wrong. Pay was based on production, less regulation. I think I missed something in that. That's Mark Daniel talking. The host reminds me of Samuel Jackson's character in Django. He sure does love Master, says Major Kong 029. Well, who would be Master, right? I mean, first of all, do I look like Samuel Jackson? I think that's a little bit of a stretch, sir, but, you do you. Tell me though in the comments, in that scenario, who is master? Because I would like to know who I'm caping for. I don't know that if you're saying that caping for the working class is, caping for the master, then okay, I'm good with that. If you're saying that I'm, like, bowing down to working people, okay, that too. If you say that I'm bowing down to the need of Americans to have healthcare, education, housing, and a way to build wealth, yes, you're absolutely right. Put me in the Mandingo fight. I'm ready to go, man, if that's what you're talking about. Stephen Camarillo, you will be reported because you are a jackass. You just keep doing the jackassery that is associated with your candidate. All right, let's refresh and let's see if anything has happened now. The other thing I love about Fox's interface is it automatically refreshes. I don't know who thought through their interface, but it sure is killing it in comparison to the others. Are there any? It's still saying that the battleground states, Pennsylvania and Georgia, North Carolina, are too early to call. It's still saying that. The Senate, it has Trump at, or I'm sorry, Republicans at 43 and Democrats at 34. And the House, it has Dems at 28 and Reps, Republicans at 52. Is there any change in the number of, there's a small change in the number of electoral votes with Donald Trump at 111 and Kamala Harris at 72. I can't see what state he added though. He's got Oklahoma, Missouri, Arizona. I'm sorry, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Indiana, Kentucky, West Virginia, South Carolina, and Florida so far. It's so weird to me that these states can be in such lockstep with each other, like this red kind of group, but then there'll be like a odd man out state like in the middle of them. Like, why is Georgia so close to call? Why is North Carolina so close to call? How does Virginia, being right next to West Virginia and connecting to Kentucky and Tennessee, end up being, not an easy win necessarily for Republicans? I don't get it. 100%. Or Kansas, like look at Missouri and Oklahoma. You would think that Kansas would be a cakewalk. Well, maybe it's just that they haven't. It's because they haven't reported yet. So don't let me misspeak here. All right, so it's all done, folks. So the hours are closed. Days, hours, minutes, seconds. It's done. Everything's closed now. So here it is now. Now we're at the hands of the counting gods, the people who count, and hopefully we don't end up with a whole bunch of kind of like jackassery in the count. If we just have a clean election, that would be great. 2 minutes ago, Trump predicted to win Arkansas. Was that a surprise to you guys? 2 minutes ago, Trump supporters at Florida Watch Party cheer as the Sunshine State is called for the former president. Projection is that he wins South Carolina. I think we talked about that already. FBI warns of fake videos using its insignia to spread falsities about the election. I don't know why you guys take it you don't take it very seriously that there are literally people trying to meddle in our elections, uh, and misinformation is a problem. I think I did, years ago, I would have expected conservatives and Republicans to take a different tactic on that. I would assume that they would have been kind of like America first. Don't mess with our information systems. Don't hack our systems. Don't hack our political party's email and all that. But I mean, they kind of went a different direction. When I heard Trump say, Russia, come and get the rest of Hillary's emails or something like that, I just thought, okay, now we're living in the upside down. That is not something we should be saying out loud. Every Harris support group have been rude and disrespectful to other voters, says Mark Daniel. Well, Mark Daniel, I am sorry that that is your experience. Yeah, I mean, I've wandered because I started doing these lives. I wandered into a couple of groups just to see what goes down in them, and they were boring to me. There was a lot of just like talking over each other, yelling, not exchanging any real resources to make their points. There was not a lot of good faith, like people arguing in good faith, like, let's talk, man. Let's. So if you and I went and we had a drink, we're sitting there talking, it would get pretty boring if you just refuted everything I said with a pre-made talking point, and you didn't talk like a real person. And that's kind of the experience that I've had in these other lives with people. It's boring. It just like, well, what about, this or what about that? And it's everything is supposed to be a gotcha, and half of the things aren't a gotcha. And people are talking about very complicated things or complex things in very simplistic terms, which should be the first sign that you should run. Because if people can't handle nuance and they can't handle the complexity of things, uh, your live is flagged for harassment and bullying. Repeated violations could result in your live being discontinued. You guys, knock it off. Knock it off. Anyway, yeah, pretty sure that that'll get us restricted. So watch any economist opinion on Harris. Learn from the real sources, not the emotions. Says, can you guys just have usernames? Like, listen, these glasses are not as thick as they need to be. I got to get them redone. But can't you guys just have like usernames like James or Roderick? I don't know. Does anybody use that name anymore? Or like Rick? Are there any more Ricks? Um, so I don't know what you're saying. It's like picky, please, or something like that. Watching the economist's opinion on Harris, learn from the real sources, not emotions. And what I would say to that is, I've been saying that for a few days now. Barron's has a really good, if you Google Barron's Trump Harris tax plan, it'll probably pull up a graphic that you can look at, and it's really good in my mind. It shows you pretty quickly whose plan is better for what, for who. There's also like many others. I have yet to come across the economists that say that they think that Trump's plan is better for people, better for working people. I think the consensus that I've seen from all of them, including the Nobel Prize winning economist, I think what people have seen is that they have very clear audiences in mind. So Donald Trump's plan helps the upper 1%, 2%, or I'm sorry, 20% more than anybody, and Kamala Harris is is the opposite. She helps more of the middle class, working class, and underclass. All right, guys, those of you that are friends to this live, if you can tap, 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 and help me out here, because I think we're gonna get kneecapped, and then what would happen is I would have to start this live all over again because there's been some sort of warning or whatever. I don't know how this stuff works. Who's winning the election at the moment? Which news channel should I check? Well, I have all three. When I say all three, I have CNN, Fox News, and MSNBC open right now. There's no, there's no like definitive thing happening yet because it's so early in the game. But I will say this: out of the three, I'm really liking. You guys are going to get sick of me saying this, but I really like Fox News's interface better than the other ones. It's just easier to quickly know what's happening if you're looking at that one. So it's still the same for the president, 111 to 72. For the Senate, it's I think there's not been much movement. It's 34 to 43 in favor of the Republicans, and it's in the House it's 57 to 33 in favor of the Republicans. Now, what I've heard is that Republican votes for some reason come in. So something, if you guys want to look this up, it's called the Red Mirage. I don't know enough about it to be dangerous. I don't know the underpinnings of it. I'm just honest to you when I don't know something. But something called the Red Mirage, and it's because Republican votes come in early. It starts to look like the confidence goes to this is Republicans winning, but it's only because their votes come in early, and then as the blue votes start coming in, there's a shift in the numbers and it goes the other way. So what could happen with a red mirage is people start gaining the confidence that it's won, like the game is won, like it's fourth quarter and 1 in 10, and they're up by like 3 touchdowns or something. And because of that false sense of reality, like that false reality that they're living in, they find it hard to believe once the numbers go the other way. They're kind of like, I just can't believe that it was all that red. And we had won everything. And then all of a sudden the numbers just changed and went the other way. And I think they think in some cases that somebody came in and did something bad to make that happen. So, yeah, so I don't think there's much movement there. MSNBC, are they saying anything different? Let's see what they're saying. Trump takes Florida. No, it's the same thing that they've been saying before. GOP flips the Senate seat. We heard about that before. Stein beats Robinson in North Carolina. Who's Stein? Did you guys know about this person? Like, I guess, how would I know? I mean, the only reason I know Robinson because he's the guy who said that he would hope that they would bring back slavery because he would own himself a couple of people. The black guy who said that. He also had some stuff in some really weird websites that he said bizarre things, and he was still running. I think I saw something from him earlier today where he was going off on other Republicans for abandoning him. And I thought that was a weird thing to do because, of course, they should have abandoned you. It uh, shows that they are paying attention and that they do have some backbone. Josh Stein defeats Mark Robinson in North Carolina's gubernatorial race. I would love to know who this Josh Stein is, actually. That would be good to know. All right, I'm going to come back to you guys and see what you are saying in here. See what's going on, what's going on, what's going on. You guys, we are getting limited. I might have to restart this live because we are getting limited, and I think we had a lot of stuff going on in the comments that is not helpful. It's just not helpful. So let's see here. What are you guys saying? Trump is going to crush it tonight, says TN. Government social services don't help people out of their economic class. They do the opposite. Gibbs, I think you would have to be more specific. So which services, which easy for me to say, which social services do you think don't help people? Which ones? I mean, because things come to mind like cash assistance, I think does help people. I imagine what you're saying is that there's dependencies that start with some of these, but I feel like things like Head Start, cash assistance and food assistance for working people and the working poor, unemployment insurance when people get laid off or fired. They're just like a number of social programs that together we call it the social safety net that I think if we didn't have those, we would have more people falling all the way through the cracks, and then it would cost a lot more to get them out of the crack and up. So it's a little bit easier to do some preventative support rather than letting people fall all the way down and then having to give catastrophic support. I used to work, if you don't know, I used to work in the social system, and and I was a libertarian while I was doing that job, and it changed my mind by like working in the job. My attitude and thoughts that I had about welfare before I went into that work and was doing that job were different once I started seeing the day to day of it. And yeah, it's a struggle for some people. Anyways, 17 political experts. What do they think? I don't know. I don't know what they think. I don't want to know what they think right now either. All right, so no updates there. Who's winning the election at the moment? I think you went to look at that. Listen to Harris speak. It's all the same thing. When you guys keep repeating this talking point about her somehow not being articulate or using word salads because she said you don't understand, do you feel at all like any commitment to being balanced and looking at the guy that you're voting for? It's an honest question. Do you have a moment of any reflection where you go, if I'm going to be this one sided, I'm going to be wrong a lot. And I'm committing to just being wrong because I love this guy so much. I love him so much and I'm gonna accuse other people of the thing that he is, guilty of. That man couldn't be more inarticulate, more spacey, more kind of, like, distracted. He cannot complete an entire speech without going on wild and crazy tangents. And this isn't something that you can say without, being able to back it up because it's captured, it's there for you. You can go and watch it, but somehow you don't see it, and then you attribute that to his opponent, which to me is just weird if you're trying to be an intelligent person, because intelligent people like to see facts. They like to live in a reality-based society. They like to have a reality-based worldview, and the reality is, there's not gonna be any perfect leaders, but when it comes to being able to articulate an actual plan or to have a plan, her plan is better than this. By every objective measure, by what experts say, it's but if you care about the middle class, and the working class, and the underclass, and the poor, working poor, her plan is better. So this stuff like, "Oh, she can't talk," or she does word salad, or she just says the same thing over and over again, or she tells her personal story too much. You got this guy over here who's talking about glass, in the last speech that I saw. He goes off on this little tangent where he says things like, "I wish somebody would shoot through the media, bang, bang through the media, pew, pew through the media, at me," and that sort of stuff, Like, that's a speech? That speech that you like, the whole all the stuff about Hannibal Lecter, you like that? You like the stuff about, like, going off on people's IQ and the racial history and kinda just saying weird things about your opponents that are not really meant to make a point, make people better, but it's just meant for you. Like, you get on there, you got a, like, a hot mic, you're just, what about the gestures that he was doing with the microphone recently? What do you think about that? Do you think if Kamala Harris did to that microphone what he was doing to that microphone at that moment, and with the way that he used his mouth in the demonstration that he was giving, do you think if she did that, she would ever live it down? Honest question. I mean, don't be a partisan to the point where you are a jackass. Literally go look at that tape. Ask yourself if Obama or if Kamala Harris could do that exact same thing that he just did, the motions that he was making, the mouth motions that he was using, and it wouldn't be a problem for them. If you say yes, you think that they could do it too and get away with it like he did, man, I just don't know how we're gonna meet in the middle. I just don't know how we're gonna have a reality-based conversation. Why can't, Harris answer basic questions? Boring. She can. She does all the time. She actually shows up for interviews, like for 60 Minutes, the interviewers that have been interviewing candidates for like, I don't know, a gazillion years, she actually showed up for hers. Your guy actually just didn't show up because he was having a hissy fit. And then he tried to sue them for her having such a good performance. She can't answer questions. I just don't know what she's saying. She can't answer questions. Well, then why sue the media outlet who interviewed her because you think it came off too good? And why didn't you show up, sir? Why didn't you show up? Like, I'm confused. You're a good talker, like such a great interviewer. You're so smart, so sharp. I mean, that's what I hear from your supporters all the time. Why didn't you show up? You didn't show up because you're a babbling fool. And the people that you speak to who understand you are themselves babbling fools. If you notice the length of the sentences and the words that are used by the people that support him most, especially in the comments, it should be it should be obvious to you why they are his constituent. They're like the cousins of drunken uncle. I'm hearing things. I don't know. I'm hearing there's kitty litter in the classrooms. Economist projections don't indicate that the actual result, says Gibbs. Consensus in any science doesn't mean it's right, says Gibbs. Gibbs, it doesn't say that it's wrong, and it literally doesn't say, well, let's ignore this consensus and go with the one guy who we really like who lies all the time. I'm just saying. Like, you are absolutely right. Like, science doesn't say this is absolute because science is a process and it keeps going forward, right? So they prove and then disprove things over and over again. It's a process. Science isn't a conclusion. It's not the end of the thinking, but it is a strong way of thinking and recycling the thinking to keep you moving forward in your intellectual pursuits. But what science really doesn't support is throwing out all the scientists and the experts and then listening to a guy who told 30,000 lies during his presidency. Science doesn't say anything about that. Science doesn't say that's a good idea. Mr. Gibbs, the government doesn't help people. The government's job is to provide opportunity to people. The government's job is to promote the general welfare and to keep us protected and defended from foreign threats. Two jobs: promote the general welfare and defend us on the world stage, keep us protected so that we can have a freedom bubble, so that we can live in a freedom bubble. So I think you guys are all good on that freedom bubble part. You really like the military and you like the being protected. Problem that you have, the thing that you have problems with are the promoting the general welfare because you are a stingy people. You're always worried that somebody's getting something that you're not getting because you're stingy. There are generous people in the world, and then there are stingy people in the world. The stingy people are, "Why did you get that?" Have you ever had, like, one of those cousins or friends when your parents are pouring the Kool-Aid into the glasses, and they're looking at it just precisely, and then they scream, "You got more than I did." I never understood those kids. You have Kool-Aid in your glass, I have Kool-Aid in my glass. Why's it gotta be exactly even? And if it came down to it, one of my cousins was crying about the what they got, I would take the smaller one. Just shut up. Give me the smaller one. Take the bigger one if it's gonna stop you from whining, because it's not all that serious. Everybody's got a little Kool-Aid in their glass, man. But anyways, my analogy here that I'm saying is there's 2 types of people in the world. The people who say that we are blessed, we have so much abundance, we are doing so much better than the rest of the world. There's so many people in the world that live on $2 a day. We are not struggling. We're not at all struggling in the way that the world struggles. We're pretty good. We're pretty well off. You would think that would make us a generous people. You would think that that wouldn't make us the type of people who look at others and just begrudge what they're getting. That's why you don't like the government promoting the general welfare, because you're afraid. You guys say things like, "I don't want my tax dollars paying for such and such." I said this last night. I'm going to say it again because it's countercultural and no one else is going to tell you this. You don't pay enough in taxes. The taxes that you pay don't cover your rent in this country. This is an expensive country to live in. You were born on third base by being born here. All that stuff you say about how hard you're working, you could have been hardworking in India. You could have been hardworking in a lot of places. You could be one of those black kids that's picking up cobalt in Africa so we can have all these phones. And they're working hard too. They're working harder than you are, and they're not getting the benefit of it because it's not about the hard work. It's about you were born on third base and you're still bitching. You were born privileged and you're still bitching. You're voting for a guy who actually inherited $400 million and then tried to get more of his father's money by cutting his siblings out of the deal, and then he lost most of it. He squandered the money. He's had every business deal he's had has gone wrong, and he's blamed everybody else every single time, and he whines. He's like the richest whiner I've ever seen. "I've been treated very, very poorly. They're just so mean to me. They're so bad, and I don't know why. The media's just out to get me, and I don't know why." Maybe it's because I put a mark on their head. Maybe it's because I constantly told my followers to attack them. Maybe it's because when I say something about female workers, all of a sudden female workers don't want to go into certain parts of the country because in those parts of the country, their lives are threatened. I just don't know why. And then you guys repeat it. He's the most attacked man ever. He's so attacked. Anyways, listen, guys, if you want to come up front, come up front. I thought I saw somebody. I didn't mean to leave people hanging out there. So if you want to come to the front and talk, I'm all good, man. You can come in. All right, let's see here. Trump is 51% to Kamala's 47%. All right, well, let's see that then. Let's refresh. Race to 270 is on. Here's where it stands. So this is CNN. Trump 105, Harris 27. Let's see what MSNBC is saying. Excuse me. MSNBC, I am frustrated with your interface. You know, I generally like you on a lot of things, but you are just, you have so much commentary here and not enough display of what's going on in the world. Um, Oh, I can't tell what you're predicting. Fox News, let's go back to Fox. So Fox is saying 111 to 72. It hasn't really shifted much, but let me refresh. Maybe I'm missing something. Nope, it's still 111 to 72 for president right now. And calling the battleground races in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia too early to call. Steno and Callie, if you're on here and you're still watching, I want you to tell me what's happening on that other feed of the person you told me to watch. So, guys, we got flagged and we're down to only 30 viewers. So I'm going to have to like restart the live. I'm sorry about this. I hate to do it, but yeah, got to do it because we got violated. So need to end and we'll start. And for my streamer peoples, what is going on with you guys? You guys can see what I'm doing tonight. I'm trying to do some live, like commentary and see what's going on. Actually, it's not really commentary. I'm just in my little studio downstairs, my little office, and just chilling and trying to have like a night with my peoples. Hmm. Let me see if this is actually even working. Am I supposed to be? Is it supposed to be working for me over at Citizen Ed? I don't know. I don't see. Oh yeah, I am there. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna have to. You okay? I'm gonna have to share this with some people and see what people say, or invite people. I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about, Mike. Um, so let's see there. There, you and El Meki. I'm just going to add a bunch of people. Maritza, Fatima, Josh. Is there anybody else I want to send it to? Rich Harrison. I don't know. Jen Meyer, Chris Emden. They won't come. They won't come. Sherry Lucas Hall, Alex Cortez, Elaine Wells. Yeah, I feel like I'm like one of those people from Romper Room, just saying people's names. I'm trying to get my homies up here to see what they're saying, to see what I'm saying, actually. There we go. Tanya Algarin. Yeah. Charles Cole. What's up, Cole? Tracy Wiley. Anybody else? Anybody else? See Emery. How you doing, sir? Bring people in. Hunter Johnson. What's up, mine? Tashir. Takani Kubak. That's my homie. Kalina Lee. Let's see what you're doing. You want to come in, check a brother out. Yeah. Man, a lot of these people I haven't talked to in a long time. It's interesting. Eileen, John Little. I think that's it. And Colin Seal. And I'll send it to them separately. Just in case anybody wants to come and chill out and hang out. I'll just put up a whole bunch of individual messages though in my message land. All right, now I got to go through all of these. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my mom. All right. So now I need to go back and oh my God, what am I? Uh, all right. So I'm going to pull it back up again. The race to 270 is on. So let me get started on my live again. I'm going to go live again. And this is kind of like complex here. There's a lot going on with this stuff here. All right. So we're going to be back in action again. All right. I had to restart my live on TikTok because I had to restart because there was somehow we got violated. I don't know how that is that we got violated, but anyways, it is what it is, and we're doing what we're doing. Good night or good evening, everybody. Good to see you. Hope everything's good where you are at. Are you having a nail biter tonight? Is this a night where you're just like really biting your nails uh, and worried about what is happening and what's going to happen? I actually don't think it's good to worry. I don't think the worry is the thing that we should be doing. Um, Drinking, maybe. I said that earlier. I don't know. Maybe I should be drinking that something other than water. Tell me in the comments, guys, where you think where do you think we're at? Are you surprised by what we've got going on right now? Do you think this is what you would expect? Like, it's starting out kind of what they call the red mirage stuff and whatever, and there's nothing to worry about here. I don't like seeing any red in the lead anywhere. So for me, it's always concerning when I'm not seeing what I want. I want to see, I don't just want to see a win. I want to see convincing win so that it can't be, so that it can be contested so much. I'm trying to get back into seeing what you guys are saying in the chat here. Wow. Betting lines have 70% chance of Trump winning. Like says Harris. Holly says go Harris. Thank you, Holly. You are my people. Key principle. I keep hearing this thing about uh, um, the betting thing, and I don't know anything about that. But is that supposed to be pretty accurate for these type of predictions? I mean, is that something that people look to, like the betting markets? I wonder. Not Polymarket. It's on Robinhood. Interesting. Like the app Robinhood, they do like political predictions. Kamala is cooked on Polymarket, says Drake. Trump's at 73% right now. So Drake, when you say that, is that like 73% chance of winning, or he will get 73% of the electorate? Is that just mean that's his chance, his odds of winning? Like so his 73% odds of winning. So like if it was 73% chance of rain, it's gonna rain that. Like, is that what you're saying? Is that what that means? People are going to lose lots of money. The house always wins, says Holly. That is true. That literally is true. You talk to mathematicians, and there's only certain things that they will play when they go to Las Vegas, for instance. They don't play all the things because the chances are the house is going to win most of it. Well, the house won't be a house if it doesn't win most of the time. SN says Texas is red. All right. Well, let's see. Was there an update to Texas? Take a look here. Um, if there was one, I didn't see it. So, oh, you know what? Earlier I said the polls were closed. The polls all were closed. I completely misspoke. Actually, there are like so the East Coast and then the Central and Mountain and Pacific, all that. They're on a rolling count. So the next group of polls close in 1 hour. Um, the least. So right now, um, I feel like there's some pickup here. Let me see. So yes, so right now 154 for Trump and 27 for Harris in terms of electoral votes right now. In the Senate, it's 32 to 42 on Republican side, and on the House, it's 35 to 77. So, you guys want to come to the front, by the way, and get on the line and really talk about it. I can bring you to the front if you want to bring any intelligence to this political horse watching that we're doing right now. Um, it would be that would be okay because I am trying to make the most of this. Let me see if MSNBC is doing anything here. Trump wins Texas, and the polls have closed now in battleground states, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Arizona. So those are now closed. I wonder about this. Like, I do know that there is partisan behavior, and I do know that it's expected that we're going to see red states stay red states. They're not going to vote for anybody else. But is there ever a candidate that would get put up that people would say, I don't care if that is my party's candidate or not. I am not voting red this year. It just seems to me like people who become red partisans are so dug in for a reason that I can't explain unless it's a negative reason. I mean, it is, after all, a party that is targeted at white, underclass, undereducated people. That that's their target market. That's who they're going for. That's they have to turn out a lot of. And because of that, it just seems like if your demographic is that normal, I mean that narrow, I'm sorry, then you have to, I think, become pretty narrow yourself. You have to like I mean, you have to fit the needs of the group that you're going after. I think the problem that Democrats have is that they're a coalition party, they're a big tent party, so they've got many different people. I mean, Kamala Harris has got to go to Michigan, and she's got to make sure that she talks to Muslim communities because they're feeling some kind of way about her. And she has to go somewhere else and talk to Jewish communities because they're feeling some kind of way about her. And then she has to talk to the hyper leftists, like the Green MAGA, the Green Party MAGA, and they're just like never. We're never going to be. They're kind of like the never Trump people, but they're just on the left, and they're Green MAGA. If we're just like being clear about it, so she has a tougher job. Her job is tougher. If she was just going after white people, she could have an easier job of it because she could just 100% speak that language and it would work. But she can't do that because she has an American party. She has an American tent. She doesn't have like a white supremacist tent, so it makes it harder for her to have such a narrow and simple message. Um, I'll put you first and only you and no one else. And when we say America, we'll know what we mean. It's just us. I mean, let's see how much more elegant and simple that is than having to like change your message up to speak to all these different kinds of people that live in the United States. Anyways, I think I'm simplifying that a little bit. You guys might think that I'm simplifying that a little bit. I'm okay to hearing that. But let's see. Nothing really has changed. We're still waiting for stuff to come in. I just know that if I was watching this alone and I was watching some like MSNBC, I think the pattern with them would be starting with a lot of bravado and a lot of wishful talking and high hopes, and when each shoe drops that is a loss, you would start seeing a slight decline in kind of the whatever, and you would start seeing the depression hit as the night goes on if the shoes keep dropping. um, um, so let's see. Was Maryland a big deal? Was Maryland a lot of people? I know that Maryland for Harris was not something that was unexpected at all. Um, no, yeah, it wasn't really unexpected. Texas is red. I don't know that that's so unexpected. Trump just won Texas, Georgia, Ohio, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Kansas. So Um, let's see here. So I'm trying to figure out. Let me know in the comments if you guys think any of these are surprises. I feel like it's a lot of it's the typical red states that don't have a ton of people in them. Why is Louisiana taking so long? That's definitely a red state. You would think that would already be called. CNN, not like your face. Going back to Fox News. Um, all right. So where are we now? So we have 113 to 178. So it's 113 for Harris to 178 for Trump. When did Harris pick up? Harris picked up Colorado. So has a straight line from South Dakota through Texas. It looks like that way. He's got North Dakota, South Dakota, probably Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Okay, Louisiana did finally come in, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. So all that Bible Belt stuff. This doesn't say that Georgia came in though. Uh, it's 66% voting in so far, and it's 47 to 53, I would say. Trump to Harris, Trump winning 50 47%. And that's with 6% still reporting. I'm not Steve Kornacki, so if I was watching him, he would probably be explaining counties that come in so far. And I think the thing there, like, in a place like Georgia, you want to know, like Atlanta, I guess is your big thing. Moxie says blue shift. I don't know, Moxie. This is looking kind of like a red mirage. We're still in the red mirage phase of all of this. So I don't know, man. Keeks. How you doing, Keeks? Are you yeah, I'm feeling a little bit nervous too. I mean, mm-mm. It is very stressful. I think like stressful is like uh, understatement. I did like listen, everything I've already read before coming in tonight talked about this, red mirage red first, and as night progresses, it goes on to blue wins. What I also heard was that, the plan for Trump was to once the red mirage started and was in, was to declare victory, like to declare it early, just to say it early and get it out there so that you can set the groundwork for it being, uh, yeah. I mean, go ahead. Yeah. Um, I mean, it started, I think, like, even before voting, we were, putting stuff out there into the world that would make that case. So I see it coming. But, like, listen, there was another person on TikTok that told me to watch, and her said that she called it. She's 100. She said it's not even gonna be cool. And she's one of those people that, looks like accurate predictions and everything, and she went and bought her campaign, and she's like, "This is not even gonna be close. This is gonna be, mainly because of the gender gap, this is gonna be, a first world thing." So it is not feeling that way. Yeah, I wonder how they can know that's coming in so far, though. I haven't seen any demographic stuff so far. I, I I made a deal with myself to celebrate no matter what, because, like, I mean, no matter what happens, we're gonna have a plan for what's next, and we're gonna have plan A and plan B. Plan A is to celebrate because we can push forward with the person that we want, but if we don't, then the thing we still have now work to do, right? So I'm just prepared no matter what. I mean, we've been through this once before, right? We've been through it twice before. We've been through one, that cut our way, and one that didn't cut our way, and we had to have a plan either way. Um, so West Virginia's governor, Jim Justice, he will win the Senate election, and I don't know. Oh, he's the one that okay, yeah, he's the one who flipped Joe Manchin's seat. It's not really a flip. I mean, because if we're being honest, Joe Manchin was a Republican who caucused with the Democrats, I guess you would say. Um, what are people saying in here? Well, his race hasn't been called with 50% reporting. He's up 51% to 46%. This tells me though how committed Republicans are just a crap sandwich because there's no one in the Republican Party on the Republican side that likes Ted Cruz. No one. Yeah, I mean, that's what they do. I mean, that's apropos for their candidate. That's what their candidate attracts. Well, we're educated, so I mean, there is that. That like that creates kind of a gap, a difference, like a learning gap. Billy says we should have separate taxes for Democrats for the illegals who want it, says Billy. Well, Billy, how about if we have separate taxes for the red states that don't pay as much into the system as the blue states do? Maybe we could start sending you guys a bill and you guys can start paying for your own welfare. How about that, Billy? Because I mean, there's makers and takers in this world, and blue states are makers, red states are takers. All that red that has come in already, that's all poor people. Those are all states that have piss poor education systems and city services and degraded like systems overall and infrastructure, have people like living in shacks with two teeth and all that stuff. So why don't you guys just start paying your fair share then? If you don't like the illegals, I mean, listen, if I'm being very honest, I would trade you guys for some of the I really would. Because what you call illegals are actually really hardworking people that contribute a lot to our economy, and I love them. I think they're good people. They add a lot to our culture. Well, I mean, do we think that that's a real point? Like, do we think that they really care about the process of selecting the nominee for the Democratic Party? Like, I mean, they're like, oh well, there was a coup over there. You know what? You know why they're mad? They're mad because they spent millions of dollars of opposition research that they were going to unleash on Biden, and when Biden stepped down, it ruined all of their campaign plans. Yeah, I mean, I was like a person who didn't want him to step down. I felt like he had to just push through because it was too late. But then I was so surprised with the momentum that Kamala hit the ground with. It just felt like a juggernaut. She took off. She was off to the races, and I still feel it. I still feel the wave. Let's see. People keep predicting meltdowns. You've reached says I'm ready for the meltdowns. You know, okay, you're ready for the meltdowns. So you should be very proud of yourself. You like to watch people have meltdowns. I actually find it a little bit boring, but okay. Good for you. Trump, your president next. Trump, your next president. Well, dictionary, your real friend. So there you go. Pardon me. How you doing, Ash? How you doing? Well, listen, I'm watching this stuff. Are you watching this pretty closely? See what's happening here? Are you? It's probably like this is the part of the movie where you can miss. It's probably like you want to come back in an hour, 2 hours to the numbers. You want to come back to the numbers in about an hour. Um, it feels like it would be late. It feels like it would be like 1 or 2 in the morning, which I'm here for. Listen, I'm in the central time zone. Yeah, so you guys will be up. Or you'll be the last called, and California, of course, will be important to the so. Yeah, that'll be important. The whole West Coast, actually. Um, uh, I did not see that. In 2020,
I mean, it's very important. It's crucial to have the White House to come with Pennsylvania. Yeah, I'm just taking a little mental break just because it's like, I mean, obviously I want to hear about it, but me continually looking at it, refreshing, it, I'm taking a break. I've also is smaller towns, more red, tend to vote more red. So I heard that as of right now, to not constantly be checking is probably okay. So give yourself maybe an hour or two and then just check back and see because right now there are votes for smaller towns. And obviously, right. Votes for smaller towns are going to come in faster. So what's really surprising right now? The red flag. Yes. What's really surprising right now is Kansas. He has a lead in Kansas right now, which is historically a red state, and it's 53 to 47.2. Six electoral college votes is gonna get us to the White House, but the fact that it's like flipped at the moment is crazy. Mm-hmm.
yeah, so now we have what is CNN is reporting 30 for Harris and 154 for Trump. The MSNBC is reporting 34 to 168, and Fox News is reporting 113 to 195.
195 is really not threatening considering he needs the bigger swing states to get him there because he's getting all these Bible belts, like middle America, their electoral colleges are